Hey everyone, today I wanted to do what will hopefully be a pretty quick video talking about a specific type of projectile that I picked up to reload for this Marlin 336 in 30-30. It's the 150 grain flat point bullets from Xtreme Bullets. I've used a lot of their 9mm ammo or projectiles in the past for reloading, and now that I've picked up this and soon a Henry 30-30, wanted to pick up some projectiles to reload for it, and these were priced right, so wanted to come out, do a little bit of testing with it, specifically some gel testing, because I was curious how a plated bullet would perform in gel, so we'll be doing that here shortly. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and burn through some of this ammo that I have left, and then we'll get to the good stuff. Alright, last one hung up a little bit, but let's go ahead and see what this stuff does in some ballistics gel. So here we have the ballistic gelatin blocks after shooting them, and as you can probably tell, I've already pulled the two bullets out from where they were respectively. And just real quick before I get too deep into it, I was using some BLC2 powder, about 35 grains of it, and we were getting an average velocity between 5 shots of 2,174 feet per second. So, you know, pretty standard 30-30 velocities, maybe a little bit on the slow end for the weight, but, you know, kind of right in that sweet spot that you can probably expect. And both projectiles penetrated to about 18.25 to 18.5 inches between the two rounds. So again, extremely consistent results. And even our permanent wound cavities, unfortunately, the blocks have gotten more opaque as I've melted and reformed these things over and over. So it might be hard to tell on camera. The wound cavities are a little bit different as far as where the bulk of it is. The first shot took a little bit to get to its biggest portion right here, as you can see, and then the first round opened up a lot quicker. And I think part of that's just got to do with the difference in the thickness, or not necessarily thickness, but just the constructions of the bullet and how thick that copper plating is. But as you can see, we got some extreme expansion in these two projectiles, and again, they look nearly identical, which is again really good to see as far as being able to predict what's going to happen. More or less, just turned them into little lead and copper domes, and again, this is really what I was wondering what would happen, because again, I knew that the copper jacket was pretty thin. So I was wondering if it would open up like it did, and again, sure enough, it absolutely did. Now I'm anxious to see what kind of weight retention we got, because I don't see a lot of stuff broken up in here, but again, it is pretty opaque, so it's going to be hard to tell until I cut the blocks open. And I did see some of that copper jacket being shed and like sitting on top of the table between the two blocks. So there's obviously going to be some weight loss, but I'm really curious about exactly how much we lost here. They feel pretty dang close to what they started out as, which let me go ahead and grab a bullet that has not been fired so I can show you in compare and contrast. So if you look here in my right hand, I have a projectile that has not been fired. You can see that flat nose to it, and that's next to the one that has been fired in my left hand. And you can see, again, how much expansion we got there, starting from a .308 caliber going up to, again, without having my calipers here, I'm going to guess about at least half an inch, maybe even more. Again, I'll roll in pictures once I have it, but again, pretty impressive. And again, I can tell that the copper jacket is pretty skinny on these, because you can very easily deform it with your fingers if I just push my fingernail into it. Actually, maybe this is a bad example. It's not working now, but I know when I go to seat the bullets, the seating stem can leave some marks on it sometimes, especially with the 9mm bullets. But again, going from this to this is pretty respectable for such an affordable bullet. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering how accurate these projectiles can be, and it's going to be really hard to give you that information, only because this Marlin 336 is still new to me. We're still within the first 50 rounds through this gun, so I don't know how well this shoots with other ammo, so I'd hate to give you a direct comparison. Also, the iron sights on it are really not conducive to my eyes, so maybe in the future, once I get a optic set to it, we'll be able to get a better idea, plus doing a little bit more load development. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but I'm, again, doing about 35 grains of BLC2 powder, which is, again, putting this thing at just under 2,200 feet per second. And so I kind of want to play around with the seat depth and the powder charge and the crimp and everything else, because I really didn't do much of any crimp at all. So I want to see a little bit more how this rifle does and a little bit more load development with this before I give you some accuracy feedback. I can say so far it's not looking too good. We're looking at about 2-ish inches at 25 yards, so 8-ish inches at 100 yards, and that's not exactly ideal. But again, I'm still in the early processes of load development. These are the first rounds that I've loaded. I'm using once fired PPU brass, but they've all been resized and trimmed to the exact same length. So we're trying to control as many variables as possible, but still not getting super great results. But I'll play around with it, see if we can't do any better. And if I do get some more information on that, I'll pin it as a comment under this video, just again for you guys to be able to reference. One thing that is worth mentioning here is the cost. Now, I was actually able to get a smoking deal on these because the place where I purchased most of my ammo and reloading supplies, the TNR Sports Outlet here in Eugene, they got in a ton of boxes of this stuff, a couple dozen boxes of 500 of these projectiles, because someone who was shooting 308 Winchester wanted to see if they could use these projectiles in 308 because they are still 308 in diameter. However, because these are designed for a 30-30 with such a thin copper plating on it, the projectiles were separating in the air and it was just shedding the copper jacket, and it just wasn't good for the higher velocities of 308. However, as you can see here, it is ideal for the velocities of about 2,200 feet per second and probably lower of the 30-30. So they've had boxes and boxes of these for years, and they're trying to get rid of them. So I was able to get a smoking deal. But if you're looking at MSRP, you can be looking to spend about $50 for 500 bullets, which really isn't bad when you're looking at some of the other popular like soft point bullets that are available on the market for 30-30. And again, you have a really nice flat point here, so you're not going to have to worry about it igniting the primer in front of it, which is very important in a lever gun like this. Now, one of the other things I wanted to test was the consistency of the weight and the overall bullet length. So let me grab that piece of paper and we'll get into that. So I weighed 15 random bullets out of my box of 500, just kind of grabbed them at random, try to get it from a couple different spots. And the average weight we were looking at is 149.92 grains. And we had a range of 0.9 grains. So the heaviest, looking here, was 150.4. And our lightest was 149.5. So 0.9 grains difference in range. Again, across 15, there could be a wider range, but that's from what I got, with a standard deviation of 0.268 grains from one projectile to the next. And as far as overall bullet length, my average was 0.853 inches with a range of 5 thousandths of an inch, 0.005 inches, with a standard deviation of 1 thousandth between them. Again, same 15 bullets, and the longest was 0.856, and the shortest was 0.851. So yeah. Anyway, so pretty consistent results. Not terrible. Definitely not the best, but that's what you can expect for something in this price range. So I guess to kind of wrap things up, I'm pretty impressed with the ballistic performance, or terminal ballistic performance, I should say. We'll see if I can't get my external performance to be any better and get a little bit tighter groups. We'll see. Again, I don't know how much of it is the rifle versus the ammo, because again, this is still fairly new to me. So if you're looking for something cheap to reload, especially if you're just looking to plink or something like that, this might be a really good option. Again, for the price that these things are coming in at, you can't really complain about the results I got other than the accuracy, but again, I think with some finagling we'll be able to get something to work out. But I really love seeing this nice expansion go on to a penetration depth of just over 18 inches. That's not too shabby. I might want to do some more testing with this in the future. And again, if I do get a load really dialed in for this rifle, I'll go ahead and put the accuracy and all that other information in a pinned comment down below, so look there for that. Probably won't be anytime soon, but if you're watching this a year from now, definitely look out for that. So I want to go ahead and thank my patrons for making a video like this possible. They were the ones you can thank for me even testing a Marlin 336 to begin with. I gave them a vote of what the next rifle I tested would be, and they unanimously voted for this guy. So this thing has just entered testing, and again, I will have a Henry one coming in very soon as well to test side by side with it and compare and contrast, and hopefully get some interesting talking points there. I upload all my content to Patreon early. We do some live streams and giveaways and all that fun stuff. And as I said, we do polls for them to be able to decide what firearms they want me to review or anything like that, all different kinds of stuff. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and throw those in the comment section down below. Try to get back to you as quick as I can. But anyway, with all that said, as always, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.